Good morning. It's been raining all weekend. It is outrageously bright on this roof. The light's just bouncing off everything. So I'm going to make this quite a quick video, but I really wanted to talk about my favourite manga of all time. Now, you might be surprised what my favourite manga of all time is, because it's not Berserk, as much as I love Berserk. It's not One Piece, as popular as One Piece is. It's not Vinland Saga. It's this girl. And I would die for this girl. I would walk across the whole planet for this girl. Yotsubato is my favourite manga of all time, and I don't think it's likely to change. And I want to take, maybe today, just in this very quick video while I have 20 minutes to articulate why I love Yotsubato so much. So, what is Yotsubato about? Well, it was first published in 2003 by Azuma Kyohiko. We've got 16 volumes so far. The 16th one was just released this month and I haven't got round to it. So maybe the 16th one is garbage. Probably not. And they are not released very often. I think volume 15 was released in 2022, 2021, something like that. And there's only 16 volumes, so compare that to Berserk, compare that to One Piece, compare that to Vinland Saga. It's actually quite a small, tidy manga that you could probably read in a weekend if you really wanted to, and it is so worth it. It follows this 5-year-old girl, this adopted little child called Yotsuba. Yotsuba in Japanese means 4 leaves, and she's got 4 kind of spiky green, what would you call them, pigtails, whatever, coming out of her head. So Yotsuba. Oh, I love her so much. So the whole manga just follows Yotsuba as she and her dad move to a new town somewhere on the periphery of Tokyo. It's in driving distance. It's not quite Tokyo itself, but certainly, you could commute in and out. And the manga is all about Yotsuba coming into this new town and experiencing life for the first time. It's proper slice of life. She meets her neighbors next door. She goes to the shops. She goes to the beach. She experiences fireworks for the first time. Now, this might sound a bit dreary if you've never experienced a slice of life manga before. Why would I read about a little girl going to the beach when Guts has a massive sword, Vinland Saga has these really incredible, fantastic battle sequences? Why would you ask me to read Yotsuba? Why would that be worth my time? Because it is. It is just fabulous. And I want to explain why. Yotsuba is so flippin' funny. She is so funny. And funny in that way that only kids can be. And sometimes we forget just how hilarious children are. And everything that makes a child funny, is encapsulated in Yotsuba. I've been doing a book swap with my sister. So I've asked her to read all of Yotsuba, and she's given me Akotar to read, which I will get to, hopefully in the next few months. I have made that promise. But every few days, my sister will just screen grab, what she's reading on her digital version of Yotsuba and send it to me saying, this made me laugh, this made me laugh, this is brilliant, this is so funny. And it's just a delight kind of experiencing that through her eyes again. And even as I was preparing for this video, looking through my own kind of physical copies, and seeing all this stuff that I've read previously just one more time, it just makes me delighted. And I think delighted is the best word to describe reading Yotsuba, because it is you just go through it with this joyful smile on your face as this little girl takes these everyday circumstances and just makes them seem as magnificent and true to what the best of life can be. It's so hard to articulate, because it's much easier just to show you on the page some of these funny moments to give you that sense. Because I'm just standing here on a roof. Give you a minute. So when you have a 31-year-old man like me saying, oh, little girl goes to the shops, it's very funny, it doesn't really have that same impact. But I really encourage you, if you just go into like Google Images or something and you just type in Yotsubato funny panel, you'll just get a really good flavour of what it's like. A lot of it just comes as well to how well Yotsuba and the surrounding characters are drawn. Yotsuba is this kind of feisty, funny, independent, sensitive girl, and that just kind of bleeds out of the page as you look at her facial expressions and her body language and the stuff she gets up to. One of my favourite moments in the first volume of the manga is, I think it's the first volume, is Yotsuga just has a squirt gun fight where she comes through and she takes the squirt gun and she says something to her dad like, "You have betrayed me, prepare to die." And she shoots him with a squirt gun, and then she just travels around the neighbourhood just shooting people with her squirt gun. And it's just so fun. And what I think a lesser author might have done with a sequence like that is pretended like it was real, turn Yotsuba into a cop on the page and, make the dad look like a bad guy and kind of turn the whole setting into this night noirish kind of thing. But he doesn't. He always keeps it grounded in reality. You don't see Yotsuba look like a real cop, you see her with a squirt gun. And it, again, encapsulates that childish joy in living at that age. It's just wonderful. And it's so hard to articulate, but I really do encourage you to look and give it a go and see what I'm talking about. But the other reason, I love Yotsubato is how well it encapsulates parent-child relationships. And not just parent-child relationships, but also father-child relationships. I've been thinking about how to best talk about this, because what Yotsuba does really brilliantly is it allows you to see firsts, a child's firsts, through both the eyes of a small child and also through the eyes of the parent watching their child grow up. He does both things on the same panel sometimes, on the same page simultaneously. You get that feeling from the child and you get that feeling from dad at the same time. It's wonderful. So there's a scene, kind of near the beginning of the manga, where Yotsuba and her dad race to the top of some steps and look out over their new hometown. I think it's like the first 4 or 5 chapters. I could be wrong, but this is pretty much before they've met anyone. But what you get from that panel and that chapter is the sense of wonder from a small child looking over at this beautiful surrounding, breathtaking view for the first time. And you feel that. You feel what Yotsuba's feeling. And at the same time, you also feel that sense of pride and joy at the father enjoying that scene with her. You feel both feelings at once. And I think that's really hard to do. And I think it's marvelous. You're able to kind of appreciate both perspectives at the same time. And I swear, this isn't just me imprinting my opinion on the text as like a father. There's so many moments where we see both perspectives, that playful wonder of being a child, and also that opportunity you get as a parent to see your little one experience that first. So there's another example quite later on. I don't know if you can spoil Slice of Life, but you might want to pause for a second if you think you can. There's a scene quite about volume 13-14 where Yotsuba chooses her first school bag. And you feel what Yotsuba's feeling as she goes through all the kind of, categories of bag and the colours and the shapes and sizes she selects, very earnestly her perfect bag. And you also see at the same time the dad standing back and feeling really emotional about the whole thing. And again, it's not just that you feel both perspectives, it's that with Yotsuba you can feel both perspectives at the same time, which makes it such a deep, emotionally resonant manga for me. And actually, I first read Yotsuba in kind of late 2018, early 2019. And it was Yotsuba, I think, and obviously there's a lot of circumstances that will go into a decision like this, but I think Yotsuba had a big hand in me deciding that it might be alright to be a father myself. This is where joy, I keep coming back to, this delight in seeing a small child mature, that kind of made me realise that children isn't all about squabbling and screaming and all that bad stuff you see on the outside. Again, that word joy, that word delight. Yotsuba encapsulates that. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a parent to read Yotsuba, because I wasn't. But for me, Yotsuba is one of the most affirming, positive, kind of realistic depictions of what it's like to be a parent, especially from the male perspective. I don't know what the female perspective is like. But there's just so many good representations of what it's like to be a dad, a father figure in this text, and enjoy and relish being a father figure. I've never come across a story that encapsulates that so well. And the last thing I'll say is that it's a great piece of Japanese practice. So this was the first manga I ever read cover to cover in Japanese. My Japanese is not great by any means. I was JLPT N4, if you know what that means, when I read Yotsuba, and I found it incredible reading comprehension. If you're looking to have that kind of language boost yourself, Yotsuba is definitely a really good text. A lot of the language texts I find that when you're trying to study a new language are quite dry and dusty, are kind of quite babyish and juvenile. And Yotsuba just is right in that middle. It's a fun delight to read. You won't get bored reading it. There's just enough grammar and vocabulary that it's worth continuing with, but it's not so academic and dry that you'll have a bad time with it. So if you're learning Japanese or considering learning Japanese, Yotsuba Volume 1 is a really good way to go as well. So anyway, let me know if you've read Yotsuba, or if you read Azumanga Daioh, which is the other similar one by the author, which I actually haven't read. And let me know how you found it, if you have any similar recommendations. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one.